The purpose of our video here is to show an example of a invoice that has a PO but no receipt found in the system. And we are going to route it through to approve and create the receipt automatically within DocLive prior to final processing. So what you saw there to start off the video was an image of the invoice. We drop that invoice document into that file folder. It uploads into our OCR tool. This particular screen that you're looking at now is something that our team uses to process invoices in the background to ensure that the invoice is going through our OCR process properly. First, we're looking to see if there's any splitting of that document. There was only one document within that PDF, so we submitted that off. Now it's going through and we're going to go through and extract all the necessary information that we need using our OCR tool. So this is the manual extraction step. Again, this is not something that you would need to use as a DocLive user. This is just giving you a peek behind the curtain as to how our team handles OCR in the background using our DocIndex OCR tool powered by AI. So we confirmed that there was only one invoice associated in that PDF. We ensured that the extracted information and showed the extracted information was what we needed. Now that invoice has what we call an XML and JSON file pair and will be loaded into DocLive for processing. As you just saw there. So up till now, everything has been in the background as a user of DocLive, just giving you a peek into what happens in the background there. So we have the fully OCR document that's been loaded into DocLive. Now this is your view of all open workflows within DocLive for all users. And we will see this invoice that we had just processed through OCR be loaded into this workflow to initiate any manual exceptions or any approvals that are required. Like I mentioned, for this particular invoice, there's a PO associated with this invoice, but there's no receipts that we've created in the system. So that invoice came in, we extract all that information via OCR. We then process through our DocLive workflow, and we will soon find that there are no receipts found in this particular workflow for this particular invoice. This might take a minute here while we refresh our open workflow queue, waiting for that initial validation steps. We're going through validating if the supplier is valid, validating that the PO is valid and open, validating that this is not an evaluated receipts supplier. So we see here that the AP is routing this memo PO for creation of a receipt. So we're going to manually route this so that you can see this go through. So this particular invoice had no receipts found, routing it over for approval. Again, this is often a automated step, but trying to show as much as possible for this particular video. Routed that invoice that has no receipts against the PO for approval to say, hey, these services were rendered or these non-inventory items were received. And we could then create that receipt in QAD. So this will take a moment for us to route back to ourselves. So here we go. Then select which line in the quantity that we want to receive. So we're going to put 10. We see on the invoice. And this will then create the receipt automatically. It's going to submit that off. So now that we have approved that invoice that did not have a receipt found against it, you will now see that that receipt has been created and we can then continue to process that invoice through the rest of the workflow. Looks like this. Oh, this is a different invoice. This is a different invoice that already had a receipt, looking for three-way match discrepancy. Here's our invoice at the top here. So we'll click on that. Looks like there's still some sort of discrepancy. Looks like we were charged freight for $7.50 on this invoice. So we have a variance amount. You can see we've got the receipt now in that voucher detail section. And we now need to geocode the freight. So you see we've got that geocoded there. And then it appears that we have this set up as a taxable supplier in our system, but there are no taxes. Yeah, that tax rate of 7. So it does give us that variance amount still. So we'll just go in and create a geo line to override that tax variance for the sake of this video. Your tax scenarios will be automatically configured in DocLive based off of your configurations within QAD. There's no need for any duplication of your tax setups in DocLive. Unless there are some issues with your QAD setups, there is the ability to configure tax in DocLive itself. For this one, we'll just create a simple GL line just to override that tax and process this through for the sake of the demo. So here we see that invoice that was created automatically in QAD with the receipt that we also had created in QAD. And we'll take a look at that invoice real quick to finish out this example of a invoice that did not have a receipt, and we needed to create a receipt automatically prior to finalizing processing. Thanks for watching.